my name is Kai Madison Trump. I'm speaking today to share the side of my grandpa. Even when he's going through all these court cases, he always asks me how I'm doing.
While the rest of the Trump family has been front and center for quite some time, one member has been relatively unknown until recently. The revelations made by Vanessa Trump's daughter, who is just 18 years old, have shaken the whole Trump family. The stakes are high, the emotion is high, and this isn't your run-of-the-mill Trump scandal. Now we need to know, what prompted her to speak up? Just why is this the right time? What follows is a narrative that the Trumps had no idea was coming. Attempts by Vanessa Trump to shield her children from the mayhem that accompanies the Trump name have been ongoing for some time. Vanessa opted to raise her children incognito away from the limelight, in contrast to her husband Donald Jr., who flourishes in the political limelight, and her sister-in-law Ivanka, who meticulously shapes her public persona. Everything changed, though, when her eldest daughter finally came up at the tender age of 18, and well, it wasn't exactly a Valentine to the Trump enterprise. What exactly did she say? Just why is this the right time? The point is, being a Trump child is really different from being a child in a regular home. Vanessa spent a lot of time making sure her kids didn't have access to power, politics, and the press. But hey, it's a part of life. Instead of ostentatious campaign speeches, embarrassing reality TV situations, and MAGA rallies, they had private schools, family vacations, and what appeared to be a regular existence on the outside. What she doesn't realize is that her daughter is now speaking out. Sources close to the situation say that she's been carrying the stigma of her surname for a long time, and to be honest, it's starting to get to her. It's over for her. There's too much pressure to act like a good Trump. She's sick of smiling for Christmas photographs at Mar-a-Lago, and the stillness is the worst. Amidst Ivanka and Donald Jr.'s enthusiastic adoption of the Trump heritage, Vanessa's daughter has made it plain that she will not be playing by the family rules now that she is 18 years old. Not only is she separating herself, but she is also revealing secrets that the Trump family would like to keep hidden. The way she's describing it does not exactly paint a positive picture of dear old Dad and Grandpa Don. How is the Trump family dealing with this situation? To put it mildly, they aren't happy about it. And Donald Jr., who has never been shy about emphasizing devotion, isn't taking this lying down. As for Vanessa, she finds herself torn between standing by her daughter as she speaks her mind and trying to mend fences with relatives. Also, we must not overlook the fact that Donald Trump despises negative news, particularly when it originates from inside his own family. Is Trump going to play the typical damage control game, or will he just shrug this off? In any case, it's obvious that the current situation is more than simply a rogue teen act. It's the Trump family's future generation rewriting its history, and the legacy that the current president leaves behind may be drastically different when this is all said and done. Keep an eye out, since this is only the beginning. Being young, beautiful, and living it up, Vanessa Trump and Donald Trump Jr. appeared to be the ideal political power couple. If there's one thing we know about the Trumps, it's that their private lives are far more intriguing than their public ones. They were introduced at a prestigious New York fashion event in the early 2000s, and they met shortly after. On the exterior, the relationship between Vanessa, a model at the time, and Donald Jr., the heir to a highly contentious corporate empire, was ideal. By 2005, they had tied the knot at Mar-a-Lago in a style reminiscent of Trump's, with a guest list that included politicians, socialites, and billionaires. Everything appeared to be going swimmingly for a while, what with Vanessa in her beautiful gown and Donald Jr. being his usual polished self. Being a Trump bride entailed far more than only turning up and seeming lovely, as Vanessa soon discovered. Nevertheless, living inside the Trump orbit isn't for the faint of heart. In order for Donald Jr. to take on more responsibility inside the family company, Vanessa was left to manage domestic affairs. While her husband was busy forging deals and eventually becoming a prominent and proud political figure, Vanessa was left to juggle motherhood and their 5 children, which they had together in 12 years. But there were schisms developing in the background. According to insiders, Vanessa had never been on board with Donald Jr.'s involvement in the political circus that engulfed him until his 2016 presidential campaign. In the meantime, Vanessa stayed at home to shield their children from his fervent speeches and rallies of Trump's most devoted fans. The happily ever after ended in 2018, a mere 2 years following his father's election as president. Allegations of infidelity on Donald Jr.'s part and financial strain were among the many topics discussed during their highly publicized divorce. The extent to which Vanessa was taken aback by her husband's growing political participation and his friendship with prominent conservative figures was speculated in the reports. Donald Jr.'s high-profile friendship with several right-wing figures had reportedly surpassed his marriage to Vanessa, and she was done with him in an instant. "I am finished with the media, the scandals, and any association with the Trump name." Vanessa pursued a distinct path following her divorce from Donald Trump, setting herself apart from other high-profile Trump family exes like Ivanka, Eric, and even Donald Jr. Raising her children in secrecy from the prying eyes of Trump, she vanished from public view. There were no political rallies or contrived family photo ops for Vanessa's children. Instead, they had a typical upbringing devoid of the ostentatious lifestyle enjoyed by Ivanka's children, who grew up in multi-billion-dollar penthouses and were prepared for life in high society. Keeping their children out of the limelight was an important decision for Vanessa, but she wasn't alone. Melania Trump, Donald Trump's third wife, also took similar approach when raising her son Barron. Rumor has it that Melania may have even pushed Vanessa to make the same decision. Vanessa took great care to protect her children from being exploited as political pawns, and seldom shared personal details about them online or in interviews. For years, she was successful in her quest to provide children with a normal life, until now. Thus, what transpired? After all this time, why is Vanessa's daughter finally speaking up? Rumor has it that it's about more than simply her breaking free from her mother's protective cocoon or rebelling against her mother as a teenager. According to many in the know, she has battled the stigma associated with the Trump surname for a long time. Being a Trump is more than a name. It's a reputation, a history, and a brand. Despite Vanessa's best efforts, she could not completely protect her children from it. Think about how you might have felt as a child if your last name caused debate everywhere you went. Picture yourself attempting to be your own person while being unfairly compared to your cousins, who were brought up in the inner circle of Trump all the time. Her reality has been the expectation to maintain a family image that she did not seek for. By this point, she has had enough. The assumption that Vanessa, the daughter of President Trump, must remain mute while the rest of the family engages in their high-profile antics has reportedly been making her feel more and more upset. She may not have been politically active like her cousins, but she has been keeping an eye on the Trump name and how it is utilized in the media, as well as her father's professional trajectory, which has been shaped by his ability to be a prominent figure. She is now prepared to speak alone. A major issue for a dedicated family like the one Vanessa's is that her daughter isn't standing up to protect the family name as Ivanka or Donald Jr. has done. Instead, she is casting doubt on it. When you're a Trump, you're expected to be loyal to your family. As soon as you crack that code, you're cast out from the group. Members of the Trump family have responded negatively. Donald Jr. isn't exactly overjoyed that his daughter is causing a stir, especially when he has spent years advocating for family togetherness and devotion. You can't ignore this, even while he's allegedly doing all in his power to keep things under control. At the same time, Vanessa is torn between wanting to encourage her daughter's independence and preventing the issue from escalating into a public family feud. Then there's Donald Trump, who despises negative coverage in general and his own family in particular. Is he going to try to deflect attention from it, deny its existence, or address it? If Trump is to be believed, a statement or one of his signature social media tirades will be sent out at some point. Evidently, this isn't your run-of-the-mill Trump family story. The Trump family history is being rewritten as we speak by the next generation. Vanessa's daughter, for her part, has made it plain that she isn't here to play by the rules. She's here to shatter them. A side plot involving Donald Trump Jr. and his daughter, Kai Madison Trump, is then introduced. There are unique difficulties associated with being a child of one of America's most recognized families. For a long time, the general public regarded Donald Trump Jr. as his father's strongest advocate, relentlessly promoting Trump-era policies and becoming well-known among conservatives. In spite of his venomous online remarks and MAGA rallies, he is a father of 5. The difficulties of co-parenting in the spotlight were nothing new for Donald Jr. and Vanessa, as they were for any divorced couple. Many have wondered how much time he actually spent with his kids, given his prominent political career. Being present online and in real life are two distinct things, even if his Instagram is full of photographs from hunting expeditions, holidays, and family events. Since Donald Jr. was so engrossed with his father's political ascent, rumors have circulated that Vanessa was responsible for his day-to-day upbringing. While Donald Trump's 2016 campaign gained momentum, Vanessa was left to keep their children stable among his constant travel, appearances at events, and intense online discussions. However, co-parenting got much more difficult following their 2018 divorce, with political disagreements adding an additional degree of stress. Even though Vanessa kept a low profile following the breakup, sources close to the couple have claimed that Vanessa and Donald Jr. had differing political views. In contrast to Donald Jr., who wholeheartedly accepted the position of Trump brand ambassador, Vanessa chose to remain out of the limelight. Kai, the eldest daughter, probably saw her parents' divergent attitudes up close and personal, and this dynamic certainly had an effect on her. She may have wanted to live a low-profile life as a granddaughter, but being a Trump meant she could never really escape the family name. The Trump grandchildren's life experiences have varied. Unlike Ivanka Trump's children, Kai had a somewhat more low-key childhood, although growing up in the Trump family's ultra-elite environment meant attending parties and mixing with foreign leaders. Even while Vanessa continued to live a luxurious life, she made sure her children had a regular existence away from the constant media circus, so Kai stayed mainly under the radar. The contrast between the more private branch of the Trump family and the rich wing is emphasized by this comparison. Even though her name is well known, few people have ever been able to put a face to the eldest daughter of Donald Trump Jr. and Vanessa Trump, Kai Madison Trump. There have been rumblings recently that Kai is prepared to take the lead. Why now is still an open question. When did she finally snap and start talking? It was never ordinary to be a Trump child. She wasn't splashed across newspapers like some of her relatives, and her mother worked hard to keep her life secret. But when your grandpa is Donald Trump, seclusion is never an option. Ever since her birth in 2007, the name Kai has subtly but consistently been spoken in connection with the Trump family, a representation of the dynasty's future. On the other hand, her upbringing was very different from that of Ivanka Trump's kids. Unlike Ivanka's children, who were the center of attention at white hat parties and other social gatherings, Kai had a more low-key childhood. Even though Vanessa did her best to keep her children safe throughout Trump's political rule, there were certain things she couldn't do. The rise of social media has altered the spotlight so much that even when Kai wasn't in the spotlight, she was there, invisible at family gatherings, cropped into Instagram images with an artistic touch, and even seen at Mar-a-Lago parties every now and again. Being a member of one of the most famous families in the world and yet feeling like an outsider in her own tale is a paradox that this produced. Loyalty is paramount in the Trump family, according to an unwritten rule. Members of the Trump family are expected to uphold the reputation of the company, show solidarity, and refrain from openly challenging the storyline. Like her uncle Barron Trump, Kai remained silent for a long time, playing along without ever wanting attention or utilizing the Trump name to develop a platform. Still, there was a fight going on behind closed doors, and nobody said a word. Picture this. Your family's views weren't just personal, they were front-page news around the world. Your grandfather's utterances could rattle the stock market. Your father was a divisive political figure, and all it took was one ill-advised remark to turn you into an instant target. It must have been unbearable for Kai to carry the burden of expectation. Did she support her family's values wholeheartedly? Was there room for her to work things out independently? Being a grandchild of Trump and the daughter of a prominent MAGA political supporter meant that she stood for something greater than herself the minute she came to terms with her identity. The strain of trying to find her place in a world that had predetermined her fate was too much. Was there a particular political incident, a quarrel within her family, or an epiphanic insight that made her speak out? On the other hand, might it have been a slow accumulation of suppressed feelings and irritations? Whatever the reason may have been, it seems like something snapped. A single incident that broke the stillness. Attempting to be a forgiving mother and a mediator are two roles that Vanessa now finds herself ensnared in due to the aftermath. She takes pride in her daughter's independence and strength, but she is scared of what could happen as a result. Being famous with a Trump surname is never easy, but the criticism might follow her for years, adding unfathomable complications to her already difficult existence. At the same time, Donald Jr., who enjoys being the center of attention and who demands absolute devotion from his daughter, struggles to reconcile his feelings of betrayal with his need to protect her as his own flesh and blood. There is already a great deal of tension in the household, and his response might cause a major gap between the father and daughter. Discord is inevitable in a society where devotion to one's family is important. Kai did more than just hint at familial difficulties, she labeled them directly in her startling remark. She clearly isn't holding back, whether her comments were directed at her dad, grandpa, or the entire Trump family. Even though more information is coming to light, her candor poses a serious threat to the Trump family's image of power, devotion, and control, which they have spent years cultivating. Her remarks go against the smooth, united front that the Trumps have always displayed. Many people are expressing their opinions online. Some perceive her as betraying Trump, while others praise her for speaking out. There will be more storms to come, and this incident will change the story of Trump's legacy since it was formed out of years of internal pressure. After considering this, what is your opinion? Is Kai being courageous, or is this going to backfire? Please subscribe, like, and share this video. If you want to see more videos like this, just swipe to the next one.